Today I'm going to be defending my position. It's a pretty interesting one, I think anyway. That to not pursue your calling, your vocation, what you're born to do in this existence is morally and ethically wrong. So let's get into it. And my name is Joe Yuley. I'm a philosopher and I'm absolutely obsessed with vocations and callings and paths. It's why I educate people here on YouTube and Substack. It's why I have a podcast called the Career Archetypes Podcast. It's why I help people to choose the right career path with conviction by unearthing their very own career archetype. And it's my belief that every single person in this lifetime, they have some calling, they have something to do, something to say, something to express, something to be, and they're not being it. Especially when they come and see me before they step into it fully. And there are very few people out there in the world that are actually walking their path, that are walking their calling. And this actually brings up one of the very first reasons why I believe to not seek your calling and to not pursue it when you find it with relentlessness and viciousness and vision is unethical. Is because when people don't pursue that, it leads to resentment, regret. We hear these cliches. You've probably heard this. People get to the end of their lives and they're going to lie on their deathbed and they're going to regret their existence. And it's such a cliche that doesn't even hit us anymore. We hear the wisdom of elders, the regrets and resentment of elders, and we're so disconnected from it. I see quite a lot of people that they'll really listen and tune in to younger people. Like all these old people over here, they're telling us, hey, if you don't pursue your calling, end of your life's gonna suck. And we're like, shut up, old person. I'm gonna listen to this 18-year-old that tells me how to get like $1 million within 30 days. What? When it comes to this claim, in philosophy, we call it claims. People have a claim and they'll place their claim in front of others and people will say, well, defend it. Tell us why you believe this. I want you to think about someone in your life that you know is working a job, they're in a career, and they're very unhappy. Funnily enough, we all know someone. They're going through career pains. Maybe this is you. Going through career pains, trying to figure out, should I be here, should I not be here? Very, very unhappy, is going through the motions, they're kind of numb to it. Think of that person. Now, in the same thought, I also want you to think of, okay, this person is deeply unhappy. Is there something that they could do in their life that would make them a better human? That they would be able to wake up with a little bit more joy and vitality and energy? Is there something like that? You probably are thinking of that person, you realize if they were doing something else, they'd probably be a little bit happier. I don't know why they don't just do it. I don't know why they don't just step into that. And this brings up my first point. People that end up pursuing their calling, although I'm not saying that the aim or the ideal is happiness, because I don't think that should be the ideal. I don't think to be happy should be the aim in life. And that's a whole separate conversation. The aim is to develop our own soul, the divine component within ourselves. Some people talk about it as fulfilling your potential. Some people talk about it as, self-actualization. Other people talk about it as if you go into like the Christian landscape or the religious landscape, pursuing God's calling. The way that I talk about it is developing your own soul, the divine component of you that lasts after death. And people, when they pursue their calling, they are happier. They are challenged in the right ways. They are naturally more engaged with life, connected with life. They're here. They're here. So many people just aren't here. They're walking around. It's like, where are you? You see it in their eyes. They're not here. And when they come close to being here, things get too real. They don't know how to handle them, and they fade back in. Because oftentimes they've got to confront certain pains or certain things that they've pushed aside. They've tried to clear out from their mind, and all they've done is they've repressed it down. And so it's waiting there to re-emerge as something to face and confront and work through. Feel through. So you have this whole collective identification with saying that it's okay to not pursue your calling in the face of surviving, in the face of being a respectable, admired person. And this is another reason people don't pursue their calling. What will the neighbors say? What will my peers say? What will my parents say? What will my friends say? What do you say? Right? The concept of themselves is built around and constructed on the perception of others, the eyeballs of others. Right? Who's watching me? Are they watching me? Are they watching me? I better be careful because they're watching me. I better watch out because they're watching me. Oh no, did they see that? I'm going to hide a little bit more. I'm going to be quiet a little bit more. Come out, wherever you are. And this necessity to engage with life isn't taken seriously because of this presentation to other people. Which means, one of the reasons I've claimed that this is morally and ethically wrong, it means that life is less than it could be. They're more rigid because of it. There's less flow in their life. They don't get to experience the higher emotional states because they avoid it. Because they pursue something that they shouldn't be pursuing. That they're trying to fit themselves into something. Right? They got the wrong clothes on. I don't know if you've ever gone into a store and you try on, I tried on a jean jacket the other day, been looking around for a jean jacket. I think that'd be cool. I've never owned a jean jacket before, but I thought I found one, I tried it on, and it was just all tight, just didn't fit. And that's not me, I had to throw it off. What people are doing when it comes to pursuing their job rather than their calling is that they're putting on that jean jacket, right? It's all cutting off blood flow. And they're like, I'm gonna pretend like everything's all right and that this fits perfectly. It doesn't. And they know. Because when they go home, what do? They throw those clothes off and throw them on the ground. Don't like wearing that. I remember when I used to work in an insurance job before I left to pursue being a philosopher, which sounds very, very strange to people when you tell them, I'm going to go and pursue being a philosopher. Like, oh, okay. That's interesting. And you can just see all the thoughts running through their mind. That's not a very safe path. But when I would get home after that job, throw those clothes on the ground. Get off me. Why? Well, one, because it was the end of the day, and we can talk about that. But then the other reason why I really wanted to get that off is because it wasn't me, and yet there I was expressing something that I wasn't. And so do we want people to be pursuing a life whereby they are not expressing themselves, who they are, and what they could be? Or do we want them to be able to do that? I think that we have a better existence and society, and that it is morally good to be pursuing your calling because of this engagement with life. Now, the argument that comes up after this is, hey, you're pursuing your vocation, you're pursuing your calling, great, but it's kind of selfish. What about your contribution to society? What about helping your fellow human? And here's what I would say in response to that. I believe that if you are not pursuing your vocation, you are not contributing to the world at the highest level that you can. In other words, to not pursue your calling means that you are contributing in a mediocre way, a way that you can never possibly excel at the levels and heights that are connected with your vocation and your calling. It's really interesting to think about this. Think about yourself when you are naturally engaged with the work, and you probably don't even call it work. It's closer to play. It's closer to like, oh, this is just really an obsession of mine. Super into this thing. Just want to learn all about it. I was recently watching a podcast interview with John Mayer. And John Mayer is the singer, songwriter. He recently, I think he put out a new album called New Light. It's probably not very new right now. Anyway, and he was talking about an obsession that he had around the MPC, which is this electronic instrument that can hold sounds, and you can create different styles of music through this machine. And he just got super obsessed with it. And then he started plugging his guitar into it because he plays guitar as well as sings. And when he was talking about it, it just wasn't coming out like work, like effort. But you could just feel from him speaking about it how much time he'd spent on it, how long he'd dedicated to it, how he'd really got into it and figured out the components, the technicalities. Well, that button does this, what does that go on, what software does that connect to, what different sounds can I put in here, how does that work? You can see that he was really immersed, fully immersed in understanding this. Now, place someone that hates creating music. Maybe they're very, very rigid. Maybe they're a little bit militant. Maybe they just really don't like aesthetics. And you might be hearing this, and if you're like me, like, does this person even exist? Is that a real thing? It's like, yeah, there are people in the world that don't like to partake in art, don't like to take in different expressions of creativity or even a creative way of being, which completely disrupts the orderly nature of their world. Now place that person and say, hey, I need you to learn this MPC, and this is the only job that we have running. This creating of music, this is the only job that we have in society, and I need you to do it. Now, how well is that person going to be at learning music? Now, they might do okay. Right? They might make a little bit of progress. But you can pretty much guarantee that you know who's going to be better at that? John Mayer. Why? Because that's what he's born to do. It just oozes out of him. Music just overflows. It's like a river, he just goes with it. Whereas this other person would be more like a beaver trying to build a dam to stop that so that the flow stops so they could control the flow. It's like, no, don't do that. Maybe do that when building a house or something, but not here. And so when we're thinking about people and what they're meant for, we are naturally going to find them in positions where they can contribute to society in a way that is better than anybody else. It's a game of positioning. And a lot of people in life are in the wrong position. They're doing things that they shouldn't be doing because that's what pays. They got into it like this. A friend recommended them this job and now they've been here for 10 years. It's like, what? My parents said I should study this and I studied it for 7 years and now I'm in this higher up position, but now I'm hating my life. Why did you go through with this? What could that person have done if they were repositioned in the world? My claim is that they would be more invested, they would be more engaged, they would be more with it. And because they would be more there with it, and they would naturally want to do it more and more and more, it would be better for all of us. It would be better for everyone if people were pursuing their calling. Now, some people say, well, that means that, we're not going to have doctors and they're going to start doing other things. No. There are people that absolutely love doing that. There are people that absolutely love the traditional careers that are in the world. The problem is that there are a lot of people, most people, that are in paths that they do not love, they do not care about, and they're doing these roles less than, not to their highest capabilities. They are doing them in a way so they can get paid, so they can get status, so they can get friends. They're doing them in a way that isn't for the deeper parts, the deeper recesses of their soul. Now, if I was to tell you that it is a morally bad thing for them to do that, then a lot of people are like, they're doing that because they need to survive. I'm like, okay. But the morally good thing to do is to figure out your calling and then slowly but surely figure out how to make it real in the modern world, rather than just bending the knee and saying, I give up. I can't do it. It's too hard. And by the way, the vocation, your calling, it's not easy. One of the reasons people end up in the wrong path is because there's this frictionlessness. It's like ice, and people just slide along the ice and they end up in these positions that they're not meant for. Walking your vocation is very much the opposite. You are walking through a jungle and there is no path. And you have a knife that you have to swish through in order to make your way. And people don't do that. They kind of just say, oh, there's no path here. I'm going to keep looking for a path someone's already made. So we have two reasons now on the board, two reasons why it's ethically and morally wrong to not pursue your calling. The first one is that you're really not going to be engaged with life. And on one extreme, not being engaged with life can lead to wanting to leave life, trying to escape it. A physical escape, right? Where you want to end it all. A abstract escape. I just want to go live somewhere else and live up here and I never want to come to ground. So you're not in life. You're not experiencing it. And this other one is that someone who pursues their vocation and calling because they're engaged with it, because it matters to them, because it's real, because they can feel it viscerally, in their body. And they're able to connect with the work in such a way where they want to do it, or they know they have to do it. They end up contributing to society way more, not even comparable, way more than they ever could, than if they stayed where they are. So we have the self, the fulfillment of the self, and then we have the contribution to the world. Contribution to the people that you're around, the society that you find yourself within, your neighbors, the collective and whole. Think about different people in history, that what would have happened if they didn't pursue their vocation. We can go to the spiritual figures, we can go to the Jesus and the Buddha and the Mahatma Gandhis. We can go to people that are more in the intellectual space, the philosophical space, Simone de Beauvoir, Marie Curie. We have people like Sartre, Camus, the existentialist crowd, pursuing something that they felt compelled to pursue. We can go down the creative space. Right? We have the old school Renaissance artists. You can go to Michelangelo, the Da Vinci's, the Raphaels. We can come into contemporary society. I already mentioned John Mayer, Frank Ocean. Just this wide representation of what can happen when you truly pursue what it is that you're made for. If they didn't pursue that, then their work doesn't exist. We don't get to listen to Channel Orange. We don't get to read The Second Sex. We don't get to stare at the School of Athens inside of the Vatican. Right? We miss out on beauty and awe and life vitality. And so we have to say, is life better with this in existence, or is it worse? I think it's better. And I take it a step further and I say it's good. It's for the good. It's an interest of the good. It is morally good. And so people that don't pursue their callings, they could be saying like, hey, I got all this status, I got all this money, I've got all this stuff. But if they're not pursuing their calling, it's not doing any help to themselves, it's not doing any help to the world. Because they have more that they could do if they were pursuing their vocation, their calling. And if you yourself are questioning, oh damn, I'm pursuing something that I don't love and I don't want to be here and I want to leave, but how do I leave? Or maybe I shouldn't because I want to be safe. And if you're questioning it, then I want to tell you that the morally good thing to do is to pursue your vocation, your calling. And there's a third piece to this. And the third piece is that it is for your own spirituality. That there is something divine within you that needs to come out. And the only way that it can come out is by you pursuing your vocation, your calling, even though it's scary, even though you might fear it, even though it's going to turn your life upside down, it's going to disrupt you from the ground up. Right? It might even rip you and your roots out of the pot plant, and you might be like, put me back in, put me back in. Right? But it's for your good because you will get replanted in somewhere where you can grow higher. To pursue your vocation is to pursue your soul's development in the world in this lifetime. That is the third reason that it is morally good. To not pursue it is to completely reject that side of yourself. It's to leave that plant withering away dying, decaying, drying out. It's this sort of decrepit plant that's has no water, has no life. That's the third reason. And most people, they have no life because they're not pursuing it. They're pursuing something else. I don't want you to be like one of those people. Pursue your vocation. It's the morally right thing to do. And if you are interested in learning more about how I help people to choose the right career path with conviction by unearthing their very own career archetype, then you want to check out the link beneath where I talk about our Unearth community. Inside, I walk people through this 8-week process that helps people to connect into what their calling is if they don't know. And I use these different lenses to help people to understand it, to get people in tune with who they are. People that have been thinking for 10 plus years, what is my calling, what is my purpose, end up learning what that is within an 8-week process. I use lenses such as an astrology lens, Jungian psychology lens. We map out the life mythology. We also look at your different interests. We distill those interests and we find out what the essence of them are, and then organize them in such a way that you're actually able to pursue your path in the world in a way that is financially viable, because you need that. It's the 21st century. You need money to live and survive and thrive. And also the lifestyle. Like, how do you actually want to live? Can we organize your life in such a way where you're waking up and you actually want to go do the work? You want to live in that way. So that's what we do inside the community. You also see other people inside pursuing their paths, talking about their unearthing of their very own career archetypes. Some archetypes we've had recently would include, designer, expressive alchemist. We've had a mystic. We had a creatrix. We have had an artist. And that's just going over a couple weeks ago. And people are constantly unearthing these archetypal energies that they're connected to. That's meant to be a part of their calling, their path, their life's work. And so if you too want to know your path, then check out the link below.